Hello everyone, Unimeme here, and welcome to my Speedroid deck profile. So, I've been grinding Master Duel since it dropped, and myself and a few members of the Speedroid Discord have cooked up this spicy little thing, despite us not having our support from legendary duelist Synchro Storm like Baron de Fleur, Ultra Hound, Fuki Midoshi Piper. Even with those missing, this deck can still pop off. So, as for our hand trap lineup, we have 3 copies of Max C, 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, 3 copies of Forbidden Chalice, yes, I consider this a hand trap, and 2 copies of Called by the Grave because I hate Max C. So, this is basically the most generic good stuff hand trap lineup. Max C is so absurdly good. Ash to counter Max C, or as just a generic tool to stop other cards that you'll see rampaging throughout the game, and Called by as well, because if you see it rather than Ash, you still have a way to stop yourself from getting Max C'd. For our starters, we have the only reason you would ever play this deck, Speedroid Terror Top. It is a free special, it is a Rhoda, it also leads you into your Link 2 or a Synchro 6 without your normal. It is so good, does everything for this deck. Also does everything for Phantom Knight, we won't talk about that. We also have 3 copies of Speedroid Marble Machine. It is also a searcher, but it does take up your normal summon. You can search it off of Terror Top if you already have a Taka Tomborg in hand, but usually you don't want to commit to your normal summon unless you have to, because this deck can die to specific forms of interruption. We also have our little Mecha Phantom Beast package. And I'll talk about it in starters because Tetherwolf has been overperforming. It basically is a free rubber band shooter. Considering when you normal summon it, it gets you a token. It is also, once Baron comes out, this plus a copy of Car Turbo or a copy of Taka Tomborg is a free Baron de Fleur, which is so good. We also have 2 copies of O-Lion. Why is this card at 3? What? Why? Why is it? I don't know. It is so good. You can summon this off of Auroradon. You can use it as a normal summon to go into the Link 2 if you have another extender in hand, and then get another token to go into Auroradon for free. It is such a good card to put in this deck. I played it 2. I've seen people play it at 1. I don't think you would play it at 3 regardless, because it can be bricky. Also, the effect in Graveyard occasionally comes up where you can normal summon a Mecha Phantom Beast monster from hand if your opponent is taking the Max C challenge. If you use Stardust Charge to draw into like a Tetherwolf or something, it comes up occasionally. For another starter that I almost neglected to mention, Win the Wind Channeler. So since we don't have a wheel from Synchro Storm, I am electing to play this instead. You can discard another wind monster, which, as you can see, every monster in my deck besides the hand traps is wind. So this card is usually live. If you discard a wind monster, you can search for any other wind with 1500 or less defense, which is everything in the deck. I had to double check, yeah. It literally searches for every single monster that is wind in this deck, which is huge. You can search for Terror Top, you can search for a normal summon, you can search for O-Lion. If I played it, you can search for Droll at the end of your plays, which is so funny, if you already have everything in hand. For extenders, we have 3 copies of Taka Tomborg, which is an absurdly good card. Allows you to tag out on the field for another tuner, Duke, Car Turbo, etc. Now it is specifically Speedroid, so if you've exhausted all your resources and you only have, say, an O-Lion in deck, it does kind of suck. But aside from that, the card is honestly the MVP. For Take targets, we have Daiko Duke, and we have Red-Eyed Dice. So we play this at 2 because you need 2 Duke for the grind game. If you only played it at 1, if you use the effect once and then all of a sudden you lose out on so much. And then we only play 1 dice. I would elect bumping this up to 2 if we had a wheel. But since we don't have wheel, I'm comfortable playing this at 1. This plus Terror Top is Hagoita, is Stardust Charge, is Raptite, is anything from level 4 to level 7, which as you can see is the first half of our extra deck. We also have 3 copies of Speedroid Car Turbo, just a free level 3 extender that helps you OTK with its effect in Graveyard. Fairly simple. And then we have a copy of Rubber Band Plane, which can special summon itself if you special summon a monster to your field. Funny enough, this triggers with Nibiru. It's come up, I promise. And we have, lastly, a copy of Double Yo-Yo. So this is honestly just here for a playoff of the Link 2. I've been playing it in normal TCG without it for a couple of months now, basically since Synchro Storm. But with the limited card pool that we have access to, revealing this in Terror Top by banishing a 7 off of the Link 2 is still very, very good. Alright, for spells we have 1 Regeki, 1 Monster Reborn. They gave it to me for free. I'm going to use it. They have Speed Recovery at 3, a better Monster Reborn, specifically for Speedroids, but it is not once per turn, and provides you Graveyard follow-up. 2 Cosmic Cyclone, because Eldritch is running rampant. 2 Called By, which I already mentioned earlier, a Judgment. So I am playing this at a lone copy, because with this deck in its current state, it has one big issue. It dies 1,000 deaths to power spells. If you get Raigeki'd, if you get Lightning Stormed, if you get Forbidden Dropleted, anything like that, you may as well scoop. So I bit the bullet and traded a 3rd Cosmic in for a Judgment, along with Imperial Order. I sold my soul to Konami. Don't ban this card until we get the Synchro Storm support, please and thank you. Onto the extra deck, we have 1 copy of High Speedroid Puzzle. This card isn't great. I mean, it's a big, like Dragoon out or something like that, considering its battle phase effect plus Car Turbo can get it to like 4,000 plus. And it also gets you a search in the end phase if it's in the graveyard. Basically, it's a speed recovery effect, brings you back something from grave. Not great currently, though, with, again, the limited card pool, I wouldn't cut it just yet. We have 1 copy of High Speedroid Chanbara. This is the best OTK tool in the deck. Gains 200 each attack and can attack twice. By itself on an empty board, this is 4,600 damage. With Car Turbo, it is almost 6k, I think. I think it's like 6,200 or something absurd. And it also can recycle your banished cards, so like if you've used Duke already, you can go into Chanbara and then go into Kydrake or Crystal Wing, so you get a plus off of baking a Synchro, which is so good. We have 1 copy of High Speedroid Hagoita. It basically allows you to revive itself if you control a Speedroid tuner. And also an effect that has come up in the past is if it's just on field by itself, you contribute it and increase all levels of the levels of all monsters in the field by 1. Basically Mischief of the Gnomes. And this deck, or that effect comes up against decks like PK or rank 4 spam. Good luck going into Cherubini with 2 level 4s, I guess. For our level 6 Synchros, we have a copy of Stardust Charge Warrior for draw power, and a copy of Raptite just as a DD Crow, since I don't play DD Crow right now. If DPE was in the format, this would be a little better. As it stands, it's still good, but not great. I have thought about cutting this for the Virtual World level 6 Juju, just as a idiot that can't be destroyed and is spot removal, but I think Raptite has come up more often. For our level 7 Synchros, we are playing a copy of the OG Clearwing. This card is still pretty good. I think Blinding First Fast Dragon is better, but if you have the read, like they're on, like if you're going second, you see they're on Necros or Dogma or something that doesn't use the extra deck, Clearwing Synchro is still a really good backup option to have. We have Wind Pegasus at Ignister, a Spell Trap Pop, and a Spin if it's in the graveyard. Really good removal in general. And then we have a copy of Clearwing Fast Dragon. It is an extra deck negate and can be used in the damage step to out big guys that want to crash into this if your opponent doesn't read. Yes, it has come up. Yes, I will post the replay. It is hilarious. For our level 8 Synchros, we have 2 copies of Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon. Even with this limited card pool without Synchro Storm, you can still end on double Crystal Wing, back row, and hand traps, and that is just enough to slaughter some decks. Still crazy good card. We have 1 copy of High Speedroid Kite Drake. Why is this card either a Dark Hole or a Kali Yuga? And a Search. I don't know. This card's pushed. Super good. And for our non-Synchro monster, we have a copy of Totem Bird. Hate this card. I wish it was Barone, but since we don't have Synchro Storm, this is how you don't die to Raigeki. You usually have enough resources if you don't draw a bad hand to end on this plus Fast Dragon. On really good hands, you can end on this and Crystal Wing, and a monster negate and a spell trap negate plus like a hand trap if you drew one is still really good. For our links, we have 2 copies of Rubber Band Shooter. So this is a Foolish Burial, a Rhoda, and an extra normal summon all in 1 card. At the cost of banishing a Synchro, you can search a Speedroid, Foolish a Speedroid. It is RNG. It does suck sometimes, but most of the time you get a 50-50 that's in your favor, or one that doesn't matter because both of the results are good. And it's also an additional normal summon, not just for Speedroids, but for any wind monster. It has come up where I've had to use the normal summon on O-Lion and go into a Hagoita that way. And lastly, we have a copy of Mecha Phantom Beast Auroradon. With O-Lion at 3, this card is just insane. If you don't use the additional normal summon effect of Rubber Band Shooter and just have another extender, you can go straight into Auroradon, pop 2 of the tokens for O-Lion, and you are off to the races. This card allows for so much with O-Lion at 3. But yeah, that is more or less what I have been cooking up with Speedroids. It's still in the works, you know, we're waiting on the Synchro Storm support. We don't know if they're going to import anything crazy from the OCG. I could play Cosmic Blazar because the Discord wants me to. I won't. That card is bad. But yeah, thank you guys for tuning in, and there will definitely be more Master Duel content to come, more deck profiles since I do have another deck in the works, some replays, some replay analysis. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed, and I will see you guys next time.